URSS nu s-a destrămat în 1991, ci se întâmplă acum, sub ochii noștri. Țări precum Ucraina, Republica Moldova și Georgia luptă ca să nu rămână în spatele Cortinei de Fier care cade rapid. Teoria îi aparține președintelui Parlamentului Letoniei, Edvards Smiltens. Vorbim împreună despre puternica motivație pe care o au cetățenii letoni să-i sprijine pe ucraineni, dar și despre perspectiva statelor baltice asupra acțiunilor pe care le face Federația Rusă. Sunt Cristina Cileacu, începe Pașaport diplomatic. Edvards Smiltens, Speaker of the Latvian Parliament, welcome to Diplomatic Passport.
Thank you.
Latvia is one of the biggest supporters of Ukraine when it comes to backing the citizens of this country in the war that Russia started over there. And among the European countries, I guess you are in pole position or in top 3 at least. Romania, on the other hand, has now a narrative that is borrowed from the Russian propaganda, saying that maybe too much money is spent on Ukrainians and less on the national citizens. How is Latvia keeping its motivation to support Ukraine in this war?
It's quite clear that Russia is right now trying to restore the empire. And there is a simple answer of whether they succeed to restore the empire, whether not. So we clearly understand that in field of interest, Putin has every single country which was previously in the influence of the Soviet Union. So all of us, we are on this field of interest. Of course, we are a NATO country. Romania is a NATO country. It's a little bit different, but we cannot exclude that he could turn on us as well. In fact, what we saw Brexit and some trails from Russian influence. We saw that they started to influence elections in many countries. They even tried to influence elections in the United States. So what are they doing? They are destabilizing democracies and trying to destroy democracies and to strengthen their autocratic regime. So it's already a war since long time ago. They made a lot of operations all around Europe and the civilized world a long time ago. 24th of February is just a new level of escalation of this war. Russia is weaponizing practically everything, starting from gas, electricity, all kinds of leverages that they could make. They are trying already to use them to buy politicians, to finance opposition parties, pro-Russian parties, to finance some interest groups, to make operations of destabilization. This is the thing what Russians are doing. We clearly know that, and I'm working with Ukraine already a lot, especially during this period of intense war since 24th of February.
You've also been there.
They were investing a lot of money, billions of euros to create the agency, to create the basis of possibility to occupy this country. Speaking with my Ukrainian friends, they say me practically that don't be naive. They are working with you as well as they were working in Ukraine. So right now we understand clearly that there is a tectonic shift. Russia is a murderer, terroristic country. Putin he should be in jail. Right now, we are in a situation that the Iron Curtain is closing down fast. We will live in these conditions. It's not a question about quick war that will end and then we will return to the previous stage. No, that's impossible. So we will live in totally different worlds. We will have a situation where the Iron Curtain will be down, and the main question, who will be in one side and who will be in the other side. Everything is clear, just black and white. So right now we understand that Ukrainians are fighting hard, desperately, to be in the right side of the Iron Curtain. They don't want to be again under Russians.
I said that Latvia is among the European countries that supports a lot Ukraine. Also are the rest of the Baltic states and Poland. But this is at the level of authorities mainly. How are citizens in Latvia regarding Russia? Is the level of understanding at the level of citizens that Russia is a terrorist country?
In 24th of February, when the war already started in a new scale, we were ready as a society, and we already thought about how we will support Ukraine in another level. We were the first ones who sent Stinger systems in 23 of February. That's why they were capable to defend the airport and to take down the helicopters of Russia who flew to above Dnieper River. So we are a small nation, a small country with a big heart, with the right understanding of values and what is important and what is not, and with a clear dedication to defend freedom, independence and democracy, whatever it takes. So if we speak about society, we had a survey, 56%. And this is 1 year after the escalation, this big war broke out after 24th of February. 56% of society is doing something on behalf of Ukraine. Donating, supporting, or whatever, still, daily, they are supporting them. So I was in Ukraine the second time right now since 24th of February. In January, I met President Zelensky. I gave him a small present symbolizing the 1,000 car, which is brought to Ukraine, not by the government, by citizens. Citizens are donating their SUVs, 4x4 cars, repainting them, repairing them by their own money, and sending to Ukraine, to frontline, to provide the transportation for the military and to help to win this war. We have thousands of donations, private donations, what we could not count. So we estimate that we have more than 1% of GDP already from government side aid for Ukraine. Military, humanitarian, we have it's already more than 400 million, it's close to €500 million. Our society is really dedicated to help. Why? Because we understand that if Ukraine will fall, maybe we could be next, including maybe Romania. We clearly understand. We see what's happening in Moldova. We clearly understand that they are trying to destabilize every single country which is around Russia.
Usually a great power is defined by the capabilities, the military capabilities it has. Is Russia a great power?
They have military capabilities, but they are not a great power. Because if you try to take something by force, so it means that you have totally failed to get your influence in all other ways. I think that this is the biggest mistake of Putin. He revealed his nature, and the biggest problem is that it's revealing also Russian nature itself. Because if we look back in the history, he is trying to talk about the great nation, powerful nation, almighty nation, and he's trying to build this
and holy nation.
Holy nation and a sacred nation and so on. if we look back at the history, there is a huge divide. The civilized world and Russia, they always were going to kill, rape, steal, take something from others, and so on. We are building our countries on totally different basis. We are countries who are creative. We are creating, building, and we are going forward. What Putin is doing, he's trying to get everyone into past. He's living into past. And this is the good thing and good message about the 24th of February. In our country, after 24th of February, we definitely got the courage to finish all the decisions, what we haven't made for 30 years. We demolished all the Soviet monuments, including the biggest one, 80 meters tall. We just tore it down and we removed everything concerning Soviet Union. Soviet Union didn't died in 90s. It's actually dying right now in our eyes. So the question is, who will get rid of the Soviet Union right now, use this historic opportunity, and who will not be able to do that and stay there for a really long time? And this is the question about Ukraine. They're desperately fighting. It's a question about Moldova. It's a question about Georgia and all other countries, whether they will get rid of the Soviet Union or not. And we are really happy to be totally free of it.
The moment of recording of this interview coincides with the visit of the Chinese President Xi Jinping in Moscow. How is this visit helping Putin, if helping him?
I will really reveal facts about the night from 23 to 24 of February. I came home pretty late at 10 o'clock, and I was sitting and watching TV, and I opened my laptop and reading social media, and of course I had some information on background, and we had already these support operations of Ukraine ongoing and this Ukrainian week, but I didn't sleep a minute during that night. Why? The first thing, of course, I knew and I felt that this is it, it will start. And I just followed how it's developing throughout night, and I was doing another parallel thing. I was watching Al Jazeera, CNN, other channels, social media, and I was watching closely what's happening in other side of the world, and my biggest fear was that it could be synchronized Russian invasion in Ukraine and
Chinese invasion
Taiwan.
in Taiwan.
And that could be disaster because it will split the attention for two sides, and that could be really difficult. Fortunately, it didn't happen. If we look at China, I think Xi Jinping is making a mistake supporting Putin after he has an arrest warrant already for war crimes, and that's a bad sign for China to support a war criminal and to support a terroristic country right now. But I somehow understand China that they are cold-blooded in this question. They see that Russia is so weak and desperate. Putin is desperate, and he is driven by emotions. He could not afford to lose the war, and he could be ready to go all in, even if he trades off all valuable things what Russia have. I think Chinese are trying to use this weakness of Russia and Putin, and they will try to get benefit from this situation and get much more influence and benefits from Russia. And Russia as a country will lose a lot for decades in this moment.
And what is the perspective of Volodymyr Zelensky? Because, of course, he said that he's willing to talk with Xi Jinping, maybe not necessarily for the peace plan proposal that China did already, but is willing not to annoy China.
It's clear what kind of peace plan is possible and what kind of peace plan is not possible in Ukraine. I know Ukrainians quite well right now. I spoke with a lot of officials and I spoke with regular Ukrainian friends. Mm-hmm. And the attitude in society is clear. Ukrainians are going all in. They are sure for 100% they will be a European Union country. They will be a NATO country, and they will restore the borders in 1991 year borders. And they will do whatever it takes to do that. And they clearly understand that Russia has shown total weakness, incompetence, and unprofessional approach. And Ukrainians felt that they could beat Russia. And they will never miss this opportunity to win this war of independence and freedom. That's why I see that Zelensky has no other options, just to go forward and to do whatever it takes to win this war. So it's a huge sacrifice what Ukraine is making just to get out them from Soviet Union and finally get them fully with dignity and respect from West, that they belong to West. I had a friend in the past. And we were chatting a lot. He was young, and he was telling me he was fighting, he was called into army of Ukraine. And he was fighting in the front line. And he was telling that he's not fighting to kill Russians. Of course, everyone is angry, and and it's impossible to see all these horrific sceneries and these war crimes without getting angry. But he told that I'm not going to kill Russians. I'm making a totally different Ukraine for my child, for my family. My children will live in a different Ukraine and different world. And this is the biggest difference between Russians, who are just going to kill, steal, rape, and destroy. Ukrainians are fighting for a better future. And they will never let this situation slip out of hands. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them.
Before we started this interview, we had a small talk about the fact that Romanians and Latvians don't really know each other. You are currently in Bucharest meeting our authorities and, of course, having talks about the fact that as Eastern flank countries, we should stick together and we should be better defended on this part of the world, according as well to the NATO summit in Madrid last year. The NATO summit will be this year in Vilnius in Lithuania. What else shall we do together when it comes to defense? Because we're looking at a long war.
I think Poland is doing the right thing. Poland is building Via Carpathia. And I spoke with Andrzej Duda, and we had a great conversation, and he emphasized that especially this direction. And the point is that historically, we, as a Baltic countries, we had close cooperation with Scandinavian countries. We have this NB, Nordic Baltic 8 format. We looked we had closer ties historically Even before Second World War, we had trading with the West, with Germany, United Kingdom, France, and all those countries. The pity is that we have never got clear focus on the countries and cooperation like Romania. And we are not far from each other. We are closely linked with our history, with all the security dangers of. We are facing the same dangers. We have the same challenges. We share the same history. So we must get our cooperation much more closer in terms of defense, in terms of economic development. If we see the numbers, we are still fighting to get up in the EU 27 list to get up to the European average life level. We need to finance defense. Our trade is 100 million euros. I'm pretty sure that we can easily double these digits. And we talked about economic forum, which should be followed by the visit of the President of Romania and Latvia recently and our visits here. We have a direct flight from 1st of May. We have a Romanian embassy opening this year in Riga. So we are definitely doing a lot to get our countries closer together to find new cooperation possibilities. And we have no other chance. We need to do that.